I never thought I'd say this, but Alabama has a football problem. They do. After losing to Florida State, which losing might not even be the right word, they got their butt kicked against Florida State. I try to avoid these like giant week 1 conclusions because we have a very small sample size, but Alabama is the exception to that because the way they lost following the season they had makes me very nervous for the future of this football team for their fans. As a fan of college football myself, I love to see them suffer. I got to be honest. But before we get to that, if you're new here, I'm Lucy. We talk all things college football on this channel. Make sure you subscribe. So, Alabama losing to Florida State, clearly the story from week 1. I want to very expressly state that this video is not about Florida State. That was a great win. Florida State looked really good. Gus Malzahn was in his bag. Tommy Castellanos, no longer Thomas, because he's letting things loose. He's having a good fun time. And I don't really know how good Florida State is because, once again, they only have a sample size of 1. And I clearly know that I don't know what the deal with Alabama is right now. It was a super impressive victory, especially just after everything that happened with them last season. Mike Norvell taking a pay cut, them going 2-10 and being one of the worst college football teams in recent memory. To have that jump and beat Alabama at home. It is so well deserved for Mike Norvell, for that program, for Castellanos. I also want to give a shout out to the new defensive coordinator, Tony White from Nebraska. Like, Florida State was in shape and they were ready for that game. But this video isn't about them. This is about how Alabama was not in shape, was not ready for that game. Alabama was out physicaled, they were out coached, they were out everything in that game. And normally, a bad game like that for a team like Alabama or Georgia or one of these like perennial powers like Ohio State, you can usually look at that and say, okay, well, even those guys have a bad game every once in a while. But with how last season played out for Alabama, with only 9 wins, which sounds annoying to say that, eye roll of the century. But the way that Alabama lost in all of those games was very similar, where they were beat in the trenches. They were not disciplined. They are a football team that is so different than the Alabama of years past. I'm seeing rumors online. We don't know how accurate these are. So, like, take them as whatever. Of players are staying out late. They're having difficulty with just like basic organizational issues, like getting cleared on the bus on time. It is just like kind of a free for all program where when it was Saban, that shit was rigid. Okay. That that shit was organized. They're just kind of like a free for all. Josh Pate said this great stat on his show of how since Kalen DeBoer has taken over, Alabama has never had a game where they were penalized less than the other team. Excuse me? Alabama? And I think what makes these losses and these moments so almost unexcusable is not the fact that Alabama has won previously, which obviously they have, but the fact that, yes, there were players who left. The talent is still there. This is not like everybody left the program and Kalen DeBoer had to fight through the portal and find the right guys. They still had a shit ton of talent there. This is still Alabama. You still have Ryan Williams on your team, and you're losing like that? You're getting blown up in the trenches like that? It's jarring to watch as a college football fan because it is so un-Alabama. And I think that looking at the season, and I'm not saying this to discredit Florida State, I think there are better teams left on Alabama's schedule. And it's suddenly like, okay, well, yeah, week 3 against Wisconsin, that was a gimme, although Wisconsin is a very bad football team. That game seems a little bit tougher now. You're playing Georgia this year. You're playing Tennessee this year. Auburn looks good this weekend. It's like the SEC feels way more wide open, and Alabama feels the worst they've ever been. Going into the season, what Alabama really was hyped up to me as is their defense is going to look like it used to. It obviously did not against Florida State. They got run over. They got absolutely gashed, gave up 230 rushing yards. On the flip side, I assumed having Ryan Grubb back with Kalen DeBoer would open up that offense. Do you remember how fun that offense was at Washington? It was not fun. It was not fun this time around. It was not fun. I look at Alabama right now and I don't know what this team is going to look like in a few weeks. I don't know who this team is. And in almost all circumstances, not really understanding the vibe of a team after week one is okay, except for at Alabama. And those fans have very little patience. They are not used to this. They don't know what it's like to lose on a regular basis. And I'm happy that they get to figure it out because it's funny for the rest of us. I just don't know where I see it turning around for this program. Your schedule is only going to get more difficult. You're only going to play tougher teams, and you have no identity, and you are an undisciplined football team, and that shit just doesn't fly at Bama. And so if I'm an Alabama fan, yeah, I'm sounding the alarm bells. I am nervous. I am worried. I am calling into Paul Feinbaum. As a general college football fan, I'm giggling. I'm kicking my feet. I'm eating popcorn watching Feinbaum. I don't know if they fire him this year. I don't know how this plays out because $70 million is a lot of money. And I think they're only going to do it if they know exactly who they want and they feel confident in getting them. Because remember, they did not want Kalen DeBoer. That was not their first choice. They talked to Mike Norvell. They talked to Dan Lanning. Sark's name was thrown around. So I don't know, but it's funny. It's funny. But that's all I've got on Alabama football right now. We'll make some more videos the rest of this week talking about some of the things we learned from week one, maybe previewing some week two. Who knows? I don't, my schedule's open right now. We'll figure it out. If you like this video, if you want more college football content from me, please follow me on social media. And of course, like, subscribe, share, comment, pray.